To be perfectly candid, I was happy because I now know that I am employed and I have a job security now after basically 4 years putting into this examination. But I was also not very happy with the rank because that also makes me give the exam again. So I have a mixed feeling about it. But surely there was a lot of satisfaction and a lot of relief after seeing my name when you search that in the PDF and you see your name. Then I was relieved more to say.
Hi, in this video we bring to you excerpts from an interview with Divya Arjun Gunde, a UPSC CSC 2020 achiever with an All India rank of 338. Having a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's degree in anthropology, Divya was inspired to become a civil servant from a very young age. What inspired her? What were her key drivers to success? And how did she manage to clear the UPSC CSC examinations with ease? Learn all about her journey. Watch this video.
So my full name is Divya Arjun Gunde. I come from Nasik district and that is in Maharashtra. I have secured the rank of 338 in UPSC 2020, CSE 2020. Number of attempts I have been giving the exam since 2017. So that makes it 4 attempts. I have been to the interview in 2018 and 2020 I got selected. No, I was not working. I started to pursue MA in anthropology that aligned it with my optional subject. Otherwise, I was, I think, fully focused on the exam. Two, three things that made sure that I can focus completely on this exam. First was that I started young. I had done BA in political science, so that gave me basically a earlier start to the whole preparation. So that also gave me an extra year that I can put in even age according. And second, the support of my parents. Like my parents were a huge support throughout the process, and they did not have any inhibitions that I am putting in so many years, or I don't have a steady job. I do like one or two things here and there, but I am fully focused on the exam preparation, and they had my back basically. So both my parents are into civil services, and I have been going to their offices since I was a child. And I used to always think that I want to sit in this chair, I want to make decisions, I want to do what they are doing, and that was one of my key drivers. And secondly, when I really decided, like formally decided that I want to do pursue civil services, was when that I came across a lot of schemes and beautifully drafted policies which lack a lot of implementation. And I believe that I wanted to be part of that administrative machinery where we are implementing and we are reaching out to the targeted audience. And I believe that policy making is very well done in India, but implementation is a bigger challenge. And I would really want to contribute to at that level. How did I overcome the challenges and what were the challenges? So the first basic challenge was keeping yourself motivated. Self motivation, keeping yourself, because this process is a year long process. You have to study every day. Like in school and in colleges, it was very different because we used to study for the exam. But here you have to study throughout the exam, like throughout the year for this exam. And that motivation, that dedication, you need to be away from your social media. You need to have a little sacrifices regarding your social affairs and time pass, so to say, and all of that, cutting down, keeping yourself isolated, having self motivation, and also driving yourself after a lot of failures is, I think, the toughest part. Study wise, I felt it was easier, but going through the hardships of, I reached up to the interview and not made it to the finalist, and then came back and then flunked my prelims the next attempt. So basically, it's the whole gamut of self worth being questioned and self motivation being targeted. So all of that, I think, is the biggest challenge. And so how did I overcome it? I had good mentors, good friend circle who actually believed in me and they pushed me always. And study wise also, there were people who would check my papers, who would review it. There were seniors and mentors, and even small bits. Like one question, if I'm not doing well, I would go to my seniors. I'll ask them if can you give me a little input there. So that way, and lastly, my parents, like because they supported me financially, they supported all the basically comforts and whatever I had in my life because of them. Because we tend to neglect the fact that UPSC is a financially taxing exam. Like we really don't realize it, but the classes and everything. So I was happy that I am grateful also that that problems were handled by my parents for me. So I had enrolled for the interview guidance program with EduFemi, and how it has helped me was that I had two sessions with one was one-on-one, the other was one-on-two. And the one-on-one session was a basic informal DAF discussion where the mentor told me about the ways to explain even the small things that when some senior is explaining and he said that you shouldn't do you should say yes, yes. So very minute details that actually I'm going to take with my with me later. And secondly, the one on two DAF discussion, that was something that has actually helped me, and it actually opened up a lot of strength areas in me, and trying to keep the whole interview more conversational like, and not always preparing all the answers, trying to be more candid and try to show what you are. So all these inputs actually helped me a lot during my final interview as well, because my first interview was not that great. Like I scored 146, and this time I'm hoping to score a better score. And I was actually happy after the interview. So I believe that after the one-on-two session, I became a more I confident person, and I tried to use those strengths that were mentioned by the mentor, and hopefully work upon them. That's a tough one because I myself was contacted with COVID after my meals also. So the quarantine and everything during my interview preparation also happened. So yeah, firstly, during my prelims, there was a lockdown and we had to push ourselves home, like ourselves inside and stay locked in. And because of which the getting of material was a little difficult, or physical copies of test solving and everything was getting a lot of difficult to go out and move about. So I think online material helped that way, but obviously, in my opinion, like I'm very comfortable with physical copies. So that was slightly difficult because even eventually during the exam, you have to have physical copies with you. Online might not be the best alternative for it, but we had to make do with whatever we had. And secondly, during my mains as well, very few study rooms were open from where I was studying. So I had to, partially do it at home, and then later in the later half of the preparation, and study rooms opened. And I prefer going to the study room to provides a lot of opportunity to interact with the other candidates and know what is on and what is going on in the whole current affairs scenario. So these two, three challenges, basically, I feel they were like logistical challenges and motivational challenges. I told you, like, I believe in self motivation. So wherever and however you are, I think that works. So my optional is anthropology, and why? Because we I used to do a lot of volunteering during my graduation time, and we had been to a tribal area called Meghat in Maharashtra, and we had a very immersive experience where we stayed there for a month, and that actually brought about a lot of curiosity about the tribal life, and I wanted to pursue it academically later. My daily routine for prelims and mains was very hectic, and for interview it was a lot relaxed and laid back. For prelims and mains, I would make it a point that I am sitting for around 12 to 13 hours, because we count just going to the study room as studying, but I believe that sitting, you should count the sitting hours. And with sitting hours, I also want to like focus on the qualitative study that, if you're sitting and just reading 3 pages, then doesn't make sense. You have to have a good timetable. You have to have time slots where you are going to do paper solving. You have to do analysis of the paper solving, make notes of it, then revise it. So all of that, the whole hectic thing. And so, like, coming to the question, that daily schedule. So I'll start my day around. So with the exercise, I make it a point that around half an hour should be given to exercise. Even during my means and break, I used to do that. So exercise, and then timetable wise. So first I used to have GS for about 8 hours and 4 hours of current. But that is for prelims, 4 hours of current. And paper solving every day. I would have a slot for paper solving, but I would solve the paper alternate days, and the next day there will be analysis of the paper and notes making. So I'll be in the zone of paper solving almost every day, but alternate day I'll solve the paper. And I focused a lot on paper solving because coming from an arts background, I am not very used to MCQ papers. I've never given any net, set, or JE, anything. Like, my domain was never that. So I had to do a lot of effort on MCQ. That is why I made it a point that I do it alternate day and next day analysis. So I don't waste a lot of time in paper solving. Then some people say that it takes up 4 hours and then I'm completely like my day is exhausted. I'm drained after the paper solving. So that and revision. I would make time slots, like overall planning will be like, if I have 3 months for prelims, then 2 months revision, 15 months, and 7 days, like that. Like the days of the revision reduces as you go ahead with the near the exam. I told you, like, prelims was a little of a fear for me, but this year I scored around 338, which is considered to be a very good score because the cutoff is 92. 92, yeah, 92. So what changes that I did was, first was multiple revisions. Before the exam, I had completed around 5 to 6 revisions of each material that I was going to read. Second thing, paper solving. I have solved around 35 papers from multiple sources, so that you don't have a bias towards one class material, that, this class material में हमेशा all of the above आता है, none of the above आता है, something like that. So you don't have your biases or preconceived notions. So multiple class test series and previous year questions. This year I also did a lot of previous year questions, so you get the hang of what UPSC is and what UPSC questions are, the nature of it, the time that you take. So 3 things that I changed. And one more thing that was, whatever questions or whatever test series that I solved, I made sure that they are part of my revision. Most people, what they do is they solve the test just for practice sake and then forget about it. But I believe that they are actually a good source of things that you don't know, because the current affairs in the test series, it's so different from what you actually read, and everybody's like, ye kahan se aaya tha, yeah, I don't know, वगैरह वगैरह. So instead of questioning all of that and then trying to make a new material out of it, so why not use the whole revision as a subject? So I would take the solution sets, make notes out of it, and use it as my study material. So that way, I had a lot of material to read. And fifth thing, I made a book of everything. So it was a random book of random facts, no subject division, no current affairs, no GS division. It just had facts. It just had things that are confusing, very hard to remember, and something that is new to me. And I'll write it in that book. And before the exam, but basically the last day before the exam, I only read that book. And by 6 o'clock, I was just chilling. So that was actually my strategy overall. And basically, these are the things that very few do, and I would only want to bring that. Otherwise, this overall strategy is pretty similar to everybody else's. So means, I had given one means earlier, so I knew what is my forte and what is not. So that, according to that, I customized my strategy. My GS3 was weak because fact-based and material-wise or data-wise, I was a little weak in the GS3 part. So I strategized according to the strengths and weaknesses of my mains. So my optional was very good. So I just managed with optional the way I had done earlier, except for just increasing one or two material wise. And what was lacking? So in GS3, I had a very poor score earlier. So I did a separate class just for GS3 so that I improve upon my basic fundas and knowledge and data and everything and how to write answers. Okay. So that was basically strategy and essay. So earlier, because I have only given two mains, so earlier it was my first mains, and I had to play a little safer by taking around very common essay topics like women empowerment, education, health, all of that. But this time I realized, because 18 was a year when there were around six philosophical essays out of eight. So that was a bummer where, like, my whole strategy collapsed. And that is what I did this time. I practiced only philosophical essays, because the other essays I was sure that I can write. So I practiced philosophical essays, and eventually I like, when the marks come, I hope that worked. And rest GS 1, 2, and ethics was okay. So I managed, like, whatever I had, I just continued with that. Okay. I want to be really honest and candid about this. First is, uh, make sure that decision is properly conveyed to your family. The family supports the decision, so that your time is not wasted in other things like, financial problems and khane pine ka problem and rehne ka problem. So I think they are equally important. I have a lot of colleagues and a lot of friends who have left the process of UPSC for other reasons. So first thing is that be very sure of your decision, because this exam is, uh, it's, I would say it's like an opium, because uh, like, when you get into this process, you don't want to leave it, and then that costs you a lot of things. Cost you your age, cost you your time, money, energy, youthful years. So that is what I believe, that you should be very sure why you're coming to this, because you have to put in a lot of energy and time in this exam. You have to sacrifice a lot. So that, and second is self motivation, because we tend to take a lot of motivation from other examples, like, even like, whoever will listen to our chat or conversation will be inspired, or probably not also. So I believe that, but eventually self motivation is going to make you take the exam more seriously and make the best out of it, because external motivation has a limit. So try to keep yourself motivated. Always ask the question that, why did you start this process, why are you doing this, why are you losing out on other things that are good in life, वगैरह for this. And third is hard work, because, like, even with this rank, I'm not satisfied and I want to give the exam again. I know I have to start all over again. I have to mold my strategy again when the marks come out, and understand where I was lacking. So hard work, that, you should have faith in hard work. Like, you must have heard a lot about smart work and hamesha easy way out, वगैरह, but I don't think that fully works here. So why not do the smart work only as hard work? So, that will give you more benefits.